All right, so I wanted to record another sequence here to give you some context. This is going to be the 5th of May. That's a Monday. And what happened was you see this on Friday. We opened here, closed here. So more or less net long, right? And with most of the distribution on the top of the profile. And then on the overnight session on Sunday, we opened up right here and we are 100% net short. What happens here is you have everybody that was trading on Friday that's up in this area. You see that most of the distribution is here, which means most of the buyers, most of the traders are bought somewhere up here. There's a shock and awe on Monday, and they basically have to make a decision on am I going to sell? Am I going to cover at a loss, or am I going to ride this out? On the flip side, you have all of the overnight traders in the London and the Asia session are thinking just the opposite. We are 100% net short. Most of the distribution happened on the low end, and you're likely going to have a battle out between the long bag holders and the short bag holders to find out which one is going to win. And so on a day like this, when you've got net long on Friday, net short overnight session, expect chop. This will be a more difficult day to trade. These are going to be my low volume nodes from my higher time frames where I'd likely want to participate. And I wanted to jot down this, or I wanted to remember this sequence, something that I noticed on the price action. So we're coming up to this low volume node. It's already 9:48, and cumulative delta is long. Yeah, most of the day. So no reason to be short at this moment. Looks like the bag holders from the overnight session, they typically have weaker hands just because there's not as much volume, not as much participation in the overnight session. And we'll see what happens here. Get this out a little bit. All right, so here is where I'd start stocking a long trade. So we're breaking above that low volume node. And in a day like this, I ideally want a pullback for confirmation, pullback to that level rather than a pullback that just breaks through and we just see continued chop. So looking for a nice Heikenhashi shift. So basically a white to blue. Boom, there we go. Okay, just to break this down a little bit. There's really no reason to be short biased right here. We're breaking above this low volume node. We've got an upward trend in price. We've got an upward trend in delta. Volume looks okay. Nothing really that sticks out as a reason to not go into the trade. So while you're into the trade here, you want to watch the cumulative delta where if this is going to continue, you're going to want to see more positive delta in your favor. So I'm going to slow it down just a little bit. See here, price is making a higher high. Delta is not following suit. And then what happens? So price made a higher high right here. Higher high, lower high. You've got this divergence. Delta, I guess the way I'm trading it or the patterns that I'm looking for typically is going to pull price in a certain direction. Or if another way you want to look at it is this move up was weak. We had more sellers hitting the bid right here on that leg up, which just makes that leg up not as strong as you would like it to be to see follow through. I'm going to speed it up here for a second. Price comes back down. It's a weak move up, so it's less likely to sustain. And then this is the other part of the sequence I wanted to remember. So here's your low volume node, and if you saw that, if delta was sort of pulling price down, if that leg up wasn't as strong, what you'd want to see is sellers step up or buyers get out of the way and price to traverse this area again, or at least traverse the value area here. So the one standard deviation on both sides. Sellers did not step up, and then buyers regained control. So this would have been your second opportunity to potentially get into the trade after you got stopped out. And let's see what happens here. I mean, you'd want some type of confirmation that the leg up is going to be stronger, I guess. Looking for a pullback. I don't know if we get a pullback, but this is essentially the sequence that I wanted to check out. Let's speed it up here to see if we get one. After getting faked out like that, that's tough. And you want to treat this level pretty loose. So this is the low volume node, and then this is also obviously the developing value area. So my VWAP with the 1 standard deviation band. Here's the 2 standard deviation band. And it's bouncing off of that level. And the things that we have in our favor right here. So essentially, if you weren't going to be leaning on delta as much, the things that you have on your side are you've got this nice upward trajectory, this nice trend. Come on. What are we doing here? All right, whatever. You got this nice upward trend right here. In price, you really have no reason to be bearish with the delta, and then volume is sort of just staying pretty even keel. I will point out this is later in the day, so you have less likely to have follow through the later in the day that you get. But price has picked a direction here. We just bounced off of VWAP. We bounced off of developing value area right there, which is confluent with the low volume node. That should have been enough to take the trade. You did get stopped out right here. You've got that price making a higher high, delta making a lower high. But ultimately, that is a good trade. So something that I want to keep an eye out the next time that happens, given the context, right? So just again, the context was these buyers and sellers right here. You were going to have chop. Somebody's gonna win, and it's looking like it's going to be the buyers, the bag holders right here, and the sellers are going to have to cover, right? It's just you're not getting a whole lot of initiating buying. You're getting a lot of short covering, which is, I think, the reason why you're not giving that long spike up. And let's just see what happens here throughout the end of the day. I'll speed it up quite a bit. Price keeps going. What I have noticed on these trending days is that price will respect developing value area right here. So it doesn't surprise me that we bounced off of that level and price just continued to climb. So just sellers getting out of the way. So what are we here? 14:09, so that's 2 o'clock. So anyway, a good sequence to keep in mind for next time.